All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Want to go over some of the top headlines from yesterday, Monday, March 29th, 2021. We'll start with the George Floyd murder trial. It officially got underway, and one of the big headlines was that Derek Chauvin wasn't on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, as they went with all year. You know, Dave Chappelle made a sketch about it, saying he was born at 8:46. We saw Ben Crump always wearing the 8:46 mask. This number was everywhere, but now it's 9:29, which is 43 more seconds. And of course, policeman and George Floyd equal 43. You might recall NASCAR introduced the Black Lives Matter car last year, which was the number 43 car. And that was a really big ritual. But 43, don't forget Civil War equals 43 either. Same with Masonic. After the George Floyd killing, a lot of Civil War statues came down. So this is where the additional 43 seconds comes from. But there's also something else to 929. And United States of America in Jewish gematria is 929. This was a psychological operations for the nation. In the Old Testament, there's 929 chapters. The Old Testament is 39 books, 929 chapters. Remember, George and Gemini are both 39. The murder trial was supposed to begin March 8th, but they bumped it to March 9th instead, 3-9. They'd been setting the jury, and then 20 days later, the trial officially got underway, which was yesterday. And with regards to yesterday, notice from the supposed May 25th, 2020 murder of George Floyd to the trial officially getting underway, it was exactly 44 weeks later. And remember, Derek Chauvin was 44 years old. Minneapolis is on the 44th parallel. Executions 44, kills 44, officers 44. So what are the odds that it starts exactly 44 weeks later in light of what we know about that number? Not to mention the 308 days is also stand out because he was killed on 38th Street, and murder, death, killing, RIP are all 38. So is Minnesota. But 308 days later, or exactly 44 weeks, they start the murder trial, murder 38. And let's see, did I put it here? Remember, he was killed in the time of Gemini, and the Gemini twins are Castor and Polydeuces, which equals 293. 293, like the date can be written 29/3. And keep in mind, 293 is the 62nd prime number. Of course, Floyd is 62. Park is 62. He's killed by the Park Police. Remember that same day there was a similar story in Central Park in New York. Amy Cooper, the white woman, calling the police on a black man who was bird watching. And while she was doing that, she choked her dog. And then the next day, George Floyd being choked by the Park Police. Well, supposedly both those things happened May 25th, but all Memorial Day, May 25th, we heard about Amy Cooper. The George Floyd story came out the next day, May 26th, the video recording released in the media. But again, perfect date for this to begin. Same pattern we identified last year when this news was new. And I noticed that Castor and Polydeuces is also 104. Notice it's 10 months and 4 days later as well, how the murder trial officially got underway, 104. But again, it just goes to show it's all perfect ritual, which means it's all staged theater, which we already knew, but it's just further proof. And again, for anyone who doubts that, go back and read my book that's been out. Every single number we just talked about, right here in the book with the whole George Floyd killing. So, again, they're very repetitive. When you know the code, you see right through it all. And on the same day that this was in the news, so was this headline. On the same day the George Floyd murder trial officially gets underway, this headline emerges. Alleged Capitol rioter called for public lynching of a black police officer, prosecutors say. So again, this is just how the news media is. Your regularly scheduled programming, putting all these stories together with the same type of divisive influence, with the same details, police officers, racism. They said that the man's name was Garrett Miller. Of course, Miller's one of those 33 names like police, masonry, secrecy, order, federal. Remember, the January 6th thing was more Confederate Civil War symbolism tied in with the whole George Floyd thing. Don't forget they knocked down the statue of Albert Pike on June 19th, 2020, the only Confederate soldier with a statue in D.C., and that's because he's so important to Freemasonry, and D.C.'s the Masonic city. But from the day that his statue was knocked down to the day of the Capitol insurrection on January 6th was 201 days later, and Confederates 201, and George Perry Floyd's 201, and the Jesuit Order's 201, and again, it's the Jesuits behind all these rituals. But I noticed that name Garrett Miller also has the gematria of 138 like Donald Trump. They're saying he was in support of Trump. He was echoing Trump's racism. Don't forget the word federal's 138. And don't forget how many rituals they did with 138 and Donald Trump. Like, for example, the World Series, where the Nationals won it in Game 7, was exactly 138 days after Trump's birthday, and Nationals is 138, and the manager of the Nationals, Dave Martinez, is 138. And don't forget, we had this pegged before the postseason began, that the Nationals would beat the Astros in Game 7, 138 days after Trump's birthday, because Donald Trump made headlines on Inauguration Day back in 2017 when he got rid of the guy who normally did the ceremony and he hired the Washington Nationals announcer, and we were saying, won't be surprised if the Nationals win the World Series in the time Trump's president. Ended up being perfectly synced with them because all this stuff is ritual, all controlled by the Jesuits. And there's a lot more to this post as well. We covered it back then. But again, that was the thing with 138. And I want people to understand that because a lot of dumb people, well, just not as smart people, they'll go, well, Zach's name equals 138 too, so what's the difference? Well, the difference is, they're not syncing up the Nationals World Series with me. They're syncing it up with Donald Trump, who's the chosen puppet in chief, okay? So if you can't understand the difference between these things, that's because you don't have enough IQ points up here. So just talking to the shit-brain critics who should learn to duct tape their mouth and speak never. But again, when you see them syncing up the Washington Nationals and presidential elections with me, then you can say something. There's a huge difference. What's the difference? About a million different things that you can't point to any rituals with the number 138 being performed around me, but you can point to about 100 with Donald Trump. And that Garrett Miller's just the latest. Okay. Okie dokie. So what else is going on here? How about this? Again, we had March 28th circled for flooding and tornadoes. Both happened. We also had that date circled for church terrorism, and that also happened. So, sadly, 3 for 3 on predictions in what would happen in the world from flooding, tornadoes, and church terrorism on that day. We were also 4-0 in basketball that day, so you could say we were 7-0 in predictions. And again, we're not psychics, but we understand the code. We know how this world is being manipulated. So anyway, March 28th, 21, the day we expected flooding, was a date with 52 numerology. Flood and Earth equal 52. As does Enlil. Remember, Enlil's the god related to storms that goes back to Babylon that Rambo's done a lot of work on. And even before Rambo covered it, there was somebody else in the community who brought it up, and I just let it slip through the cracks. But look at this. They reported that this was the worst flooding in Nashville since May 2nd, 2010. So the last time it flooded this bad was May 2nd, 5-2. I mean, come on. It rained even more. They had even more flooding on May 2nd, 5-2. But come on. And notice how Earth and Enlil are a perfect overlap in all 4 ciphers. Again, flood is 52, 83, 25 like Enlil, like Earth. But isn't that interesting that they're the exact same in all 4 ciphers? And don't forget, on March 8th, 2021, which was a date with 52 numerology, Hawaii flooded. That date can be written 8/3. And it was the worst flooding in Hawaii in 25 years as it was reported. So this Enlil's a big piece of it. And it says later in time, the name became Elil without the N. Here's what's interesting about that. Elil has the 20 and 25. Flood has the 20 and 25. Then Elil's also got the 38, which is the reflection of 83. So that March 8th date that Hawaii had the worst flooding in 25 years. And then this is in the news. Pharrell, the singer slash rapper slash producer, Is Pharrell in any movies yet? So many of these singers, entertainers going to movies as well. I saw Mary J. Blige has a new movie out. But anyway, Pharrell says the man shot and killed by police at Virginia Beach oceanfront Friday was his cousin. So, first of all, the fact that he's wearing an Arizona Diamondbacks jersey is suspicious because the baseball season's about to begin, and there's only a few teams that have a 117 connection. This year will end with the 117th World Series. So, we're going to have to keep an eye on the Diamondbacks. That's interesting. There's another team that's more likely to be there in their division that has the 117 connection as well. But I do find it suspicious that a guy in Virginia Beach is wearing an Arizona Diamondbacks jersey. And again, this comes right before baseball season begins. But Arizona Diamondbacks also has the 81 like mark of the beast, like Kobe Bean Bryant. And remember, Kobe scored his career high 81 in his 666th game, 666. Remember, these two Virginia Beach shootings were 666 days apart. The last one was May 31st, 2019. The most recent was March 26, 2021, a span of 666 days. And with regards to the last shooting on May 31st, that's the 151st day of the year. 151's the 36th prime. And 666 is the 36th triangular number. So 666, 151, and 36 all have a clear mathematical relationship. And then even, Arizona Diamondbacks fits in because it's 81 like Mark of the Beast, which is 666. And then Rockstar is 666, since you could kind of say Pharrell's a rock star. He's more of a hip-hop star, but still, that rockstar term applies. And it just goes to show, I guarantee you the day that they had this May 31st shooting, they had the March 26, 2021 shooting planned. That's how these people operate. In patterns, in cycles, in ritual. Also standing out, the name of his cousin who was reportedly killed by the police, Donovan Lynch. And come on, the name too, just lynching on the same day, this guy, right? This is all in the news on the same day. Alleged Capitol riot called for public lynching of a black police officer. And then you flip over to the next page. Pharrell says the man shot and killed by police in Virginia Beach Friday was his cousin, Donovan Lynch. But again, this is on March 29th, 29/3, like 293, the 62nd prime. Again, the Floyd murder trial is getting underway. And again, Floyd 62, Police Park 62, Riot 62, Officers another 62 word, Minneapolis is a 62. You know what I mean? All this on the same day. What's the word lynch anyway? What's wrong with me? The word lynch is 62. Come on, man. And you know what else? The date that this news happened had 73 numerology as well. It was 29/3, like 293, the 62nd prime, and it had 73 date numerology. And of course, both those numbers connect to sacrifice. Sacrifice, 6273. So I got to go back and plug that in about how Lynch is 62 and 73. Of course, Faustian Bar going to deal with the devil's 62. I might have left the 73 part out of this post. Did I leave the 73 part out? Pharrell's born in 73. Well, I guess I left the 73 part out. I should put that back in there as well, because this date had a double connection to sacrifice. Again, 3 plus 29 plus 20 plus 21 is 73. Also, what does stand out about this, though, is Pharrell is 47 years old right now. Remember what they did with Eminem at age 47? How much propaganda they used him in? It started with the Darkness video, and then like a COVID song, and something else I'm forgetting right now. He ended up being synced up with that ritual. He did a song with Jesse Reyes. God, I forget how the song goes, but then that was synced up with the Mauve Kennedy death, where their bodies were found in Shady Side, like Eminem's nickname is Slim Shady. They did so much with Eminem at age 47. Well, Pharrell's 47 years old right now. And consider the word beast is 47, since he's now being connected to the Virginia Beach shooting, where they come 666 days apart, and the mark of the beast is 666. But in case you forgot about Eminem's first ritual at age 47, he put out this Darkness music video in tribute to the Vegas shooting, where they said the shooter had 47 guns. And remember, the Vegas shooting was October 1st, 2017, the day leaving 91 days left in the year at the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting. And then Eminem puts out this song, Darkness, in tribute to that shooting, which equals 91. And the video came out January 16th. From his 47th birthday to the day the music video came out was 91 days later for Darkness, in tribute to the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting. And again, 91's the 13th triangular number, and the supposed shooter, Stephen Paddock, you could see the 13 that they had on his throat. 91, the 13th triangular number. So anyway, Eminem, and if you never watched the Darkness music video, at the end of it, there's a big government thing about how you can turn in your weapons. I mean, talk about being used for government propaganda. But yeah, government and authority, of course, are 47. And don't ever forget the 47 list. Donald Trump made it real clear on the campaign trail against Biden. Again, President, White House, government authority, Republican, Whig, Democrat, D.C., Trump, they're all 47. Biden had been in D.C. for 47 years when he won the presidential election against Trump in the puppet show that was. Also, about the Virginia Beach shooting, it happened late March 26th. It was the big news story the morning of March 27th, the date can be written 27/3. Pharrell's full name is Pharrell Lancilo Williams, which is 273, like the date. So it's interesting how it ends up being his cousin when the news pretty much broke on the date that corresponds with his name. But they saved this story for 2 days after. And again, just connecting celebrity to a big mass shooting, the whole gun control. It even, in hindsight, it even has me thinking about how, like, Tupac Shakur, which is 139, and remember, he supposedly died September 13th, 96, 13/9, which 2 years prior to that was the gun control bill, the assault weapons ban on September 13th, 94, gun control 139, and remember, that's the 256th day of the year. Assault weapons ban 256. Okay. Also in the news, on the 88th day of the year, March 29th. I just thought about that too with Pharrell. Since it was the 88th day of the year, rappers got that 88. Pharrell's a rapper. Pharrell has a feature on a song called Move That Dope. Read the lyrics to his verse on that song. It almost seems like in hindsight it was some predictive programming kind of for COVID too, but he just talks about, you know, the eye in the sky, how we're all under surveillance. He's trying to let everybody know. Now here he is, part of a Big Brother agenda. But on the 88th day of the year, Barack Obama's step-grandmother has died at age 99. Her name was Sarah, which is 88, dead on the 88th day of the year. And Sarah Obama's got that 79 and 191 like Society of Jesus. Remember, Society of Jesus is also 56, and Obama won the 56th election in 2008. Now it's 13 years later. Step-grandmother's dead. And she died yesterday, Monday, March 29th, 29/3, like 293, the 62nd prime. And again, also a date with 73 numerology. Sacrifices 73 and 62. Of course, Obama's 59 years old right now. And notice from his 59th birthday to the death was his 238th day of his age, which is 34 weeks. Sarah's got the 88 and 34. And Sarah and Black are 34. Obama, the first black president. And then being 59, again, renegade, jigaboo, slave, Negro, Rasta, blues, all 59 words. Renegade was Obama's Secret Service name. He was known as Renegade. And don't forget, when you run it in reverse, those words are 76. Like the Million Man March was October 16th, the day leaving 76 days left in the year. In 95, the reflection of 59. And Barack Obama got the 76 as well. I also noticed Barack Hussein Obama II, 1-1, is 181, the 42nd prime, And remember, from his birthday, August 4th, to the start of Black History Month each year, February 1st. So going forward, so like if you go from August 4th to August 5th, August 6th, counting up to February 1st, the next coming February 1st, Black History Month, that's 181 days later, and Black History is 181. We've talked about that many times, but I'm not sure I ever noticed that Barack Hussein Obama II was 181. I might have been sleeping on that the whole time, because when I saw that yesterday, I was like, I don't remember talking about that before. I normally just call him Barack Hussein Obama, but now on his wiki they got the second there, and I guess his dad was senior, so it makes sense. And keep in mind, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. February equals 42. So that 42-59 thing, Motown came out in 59 on the 42nd parallel in Detroit, so on and so forth. But yeah, his step-grandmother dies on a very fitting date for a sacrifice and a fitting date for a Sarah. The name Sarah also equals 47 like president, like how Obama took office at age 47. And you know what? In light of it being 13 years later and her dying at 99, when you write out 13, it's 99 in the most simple cipher. So there is probably something to that. He became president-elect 13 years ago. Okay, also on the 88th day of the year, you had the death of a Maltese journalist. And again, Malta's 88. Malta's big with the whole Catholic thing. Knights Templar, Knights Hospitaller, Knights of Malta, the Jesuits, all this is related. The Order of Malta, founded as the Knights Hospitaller around 1099 in Jerusalem, is a Roman Catholic chivalric society. Okay. That received the Maltese Islands in a perpetual lease in 1530 from Charles I of Spain. So, again, Maltese journalist dead. Dead at 79. Remember, Society of Jesus, Knights Templar, Christianity, they're all 79. All these things are related. Remember, the pandemic was declared on Anthony Fauci's 79th day of being 79 years old, Jesuit-educated Anthony Fauci. And this man's name, Godfrey Gima, has the 7461 in it, like Jesus, 7461. And again, murder by numbers. The numbers right around the words are 7 and 9, like 79, the 3-8 encoded. Murder 7983. And again, dead on this date that was ripe for sacrifice. So again, it's not hard to see what's going on here. On the 88th day of the year, journalist drops dead in a big old ritual. And I'd like to look more into his recent articles. Maybe he crossed a line. Also dead in the news, Stevie Wonder producer, dead at 84 on a Sunday. And his name's Malcolm Cecil. From his January 9th birthday to his March 28th death was 78 days later. And again, he died on Sunday. And remember, dead at 84, 78 days after the birthday. Jesuit and Sunday equal 84, 21, and 78. He's also dead in 2021. And this reminds me of John Thompson, who died at age 78 on a Sunday and was the first black coach to win the college basketball championship in 84 with Jesuit Georgetown. He died August 30th, 2020, which was a date with 78 numerology as well. Died unexpectedly. And from Pope Francis' birthday to this death was 101 days later, and Malcolm Cecil's 101. And remember, this is the same day the church blew up, Palm Sunday, which was 101 weeks after the Sri Lankan Easter Sunday bombing. And the word Christian's also 101. And again, Pope Francis is 84 right now. So I don't know if this is one of Pope Francis' favorite musicians or what, but the death is all kinds of suspicious, and we know the Jesuits really control the world of entertainment. I suppose the only thing I didn't look at is how it lined up with Stevie Wonder, since he produced Stevie Wonder's songs. Here, I just want to check out of curiosity. Stevie Wonder birthday. He's born May 13th, 70 years old right now. Let's see. May 13th. to March 28th. Wow, look at that. He died 319 days after Stevie Wonder's birthday. Remember, Prince had the song 319, and then Prince ended up dying 319 days after his birthday, and the Satanic Cipher Killing is 319. It is crazy how they do this. If I'm counting right, that's also 46 days before his upcoming birthday. And of course, Sacrifice is 46. Yeah, 46 days before his upcoming birthday. Sacrifice 46. And it's 46 days to his 71st birthday as well. Remember, Catholic is 46 and 71. Remember, Joe Biden officially confirmed to be number 46 after they counted the votes on January 7th, which can be written 7/1. And they called the election for him on November 7th, which was his 353 days after his birthday, the 71st prime. So 46 days before Stevie Wonder's 71st birthday, and a clear Jesuit ritual, and the Jesuits served the Catholic Church. Okay. How about this one? Taraji P. Henson, the actress, French bulldog, dies after complications from surgery. Now, this was news on March 28th. That's Lady Gaga's birthday. And remember, she just had the story of her French bulldogs being kidnapped and her dog walker being shot in a video that was absolute proof that it was all made up. And, yeah, I'm just watching this with the college basketball thing because there's two LA teams playing today. This whole Bulldog thing is going on in LA. Today, USC and UCLA both play. And Gonzaga, who's the Bulldogs, plays. And we know how they like to sync up news and sports. So I'm trying to understand the meaning of this symbolism. It's like, okay, this Bulldog died. These Bulldogs were stolen and recovered. Now the Bulldogs in LA, they're all playing on the same day in the Elite Eight. What are they doing here with this? And What's a Trip is from Taraji P. Henson, how they have her in the headlines. Taraji P. Henson, so you can see everyone has it like that. Entertainment Tonight, People, TMZ, they all have it the same way. Taraji P. Henson. From her September 11th birthday, what an interesting birthday, to today's games with all these UCLA or Los Angeles teams. Again, UCLA, USC, Gonzaga, the Bulldogs, they're all playing today. From her birthday to today's 201 days, and her name's got that 201 in it. Her name is also just like Indianapolis in 3 out of the 4 ciphers where the games are today. And her dog, who just died, K-Ball, equals 34 like Indiana, where the games are. Again, they're in Indianapolis, Indiana. And from the day that Lady Gaga's dogs were stolen to today's games is also 34 days later. So, anyway, the riddle is confusing. I mean, you can see it's there. You can see that they're syncing all this stuff up with the sports and the Bulldogs and LA. But, yeah, it's hard to interpret what they're saying. Like for example, they do these rituals and sometimes they're easy to understand. For example, Elgin Baylor just died 187 days after his birthday, right? Elgin Baylor just died 187 days after his birthday. The Baylor Bears, they played right after that, and they were playing Villanova, the Catholic school, and Villanova came in 18-6, and like clockwork, they fell to 18-7, like 187 days after Elgin Baylor dies 187 days after his birthday. And look at this with Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor's birthday is September 16th. Here, let me make that bigger. He died on 3/22, right? But his birthday is September 16th in 34. But look at this. From his birthday to the championship on April 5th, 2021, you see how it's 201 days later? And Indianapolis, where the championship is, Jesuit town, the Indianapolis Colts became that in 84, right? But Indianapolis got that 201, right? Baylor Bears, Elgin Baylor dead during the tournament. If you measure from the championship date to the upcoming Baylor Bears basketball coach's upcoming birthday, which is October 23rd, if I remember right, but his upcoming birthday, yeah, it is October 23rd, because his birthday is 201 days after the championship in Indianapolis. But isn't it amazing how they line up all this stuff just year after year? So, anyway, Watch out for USC too, because USC is the dark horse team. If USC somehow won the championship, remember Keyshawn Johnson. Remember what we talked about with Keyshawn Johnson? We talked about this. Keyshawn Johnson, 201. He went to USC. His daughter died right before the tournament began, and we said USC should win at least 3 games. They've already done that because now they have 25 wins. Trojans equals 25. His daughter died at 25. He was a USC Trojan. March is 25. USC got their 25th win by beating Oregon, which is another 25. And, but again, his daughter died at 25, and he's got the 201 connection like Indianapolis. What's interesting about USC, though, who's the dark horse team right now, is if they did win the championship, their coach would get his 201st win all time. So Gonzaga has a great 201 ritual. Baylor has a great 201 ritual. USC has a great 201 ritual. I've never seen the number come together for so many teams in a single tournament. So it's just like, what in the world? What are they doing this year? Anyway, if you want to know more about it, I've put out a little bit more organized thoughts on the Patreon. We've been decoding the tournament the whole way through. We've done pretty well. Been some disappointments there, but we've done pretty well. We hit some major upsets. We're 6-0 in our last 6 picks, and again, that's the beauty of this knowledge is you really see just how rigged it is, and you can get it out of the curve, and you can make some grocery money. Also, for an update on the Lil Nas X Satan shoes, if you missed my decode on this, go back and check it out. But they gave us the update. They went on sale yesterday, like we talked about, March 29th. And all the headlines said they sold out in under 1 minute. There were only 666 pairs of the shoes, 666. They're a remake of a Nike shoe by this brand MSCHF. But they said that each sole of the shoe has a drop of human blood in it. That's the marketing. And then something else that this story really made me think about is the pricing of $1,018, like 1018, because in Luke 10:18, Satan falls to earth in the form of lightning. Again, think about the day of the Event 201 simulation. 201 was on October 18th, 1018, and we know this entire thing is completely satanic. Again, it was connected to the Clade X simulation, which was 666 days before the pandemic was declared. So you see how they bring this same number together, 666 and 1018 with this. So now it makes the Event 201 and Clade X simulation make all the more sense. Again, and don't forget, the Holy Bible is 201, just like the Jesuit order. Again, it's all biblical. Clade X, 666 days before the pandemic declared. Event 201 on 1018. Satan falls to earth in Luke 10:18. Now we got the shoe during the pandemic, kind of helping us see more clearly. And I noticed that NBC posted their article at 2:23, which made me laugh. The Synagogue of Satan is 2:23. These are the Satan shoes. And don't forget, the Synagogue of Satan is written about in Revelation in the letter to the Church of Philadelphia. And Philadelphia's got that 2:23. It's also got that 61 like church, that 65 like Christianity, that 101 like Christian. Again, Christian's got the 101 and 61. Church, Christianity. So I mean, Philadelphia, biblical name from Revelation. And don't forget that Philadelphia was established. You see how Christianity and Philadelphia are 65 in the most pure cipher? Philadelphia was established on the day, leaving 65 days left in the year. October 27th. So, but yeah, the Event 201 and the Clade X, man, they make so much more sense now, realizing that thing about Luke 10:18. It's unbelievable how they do it. Also, Lindsey Graham got negative press yesterday for going against the gun control that we should all submit to. And understand, Lindsey Graham's a puppet, but Lindsey Graham said he's going to keep his AR-15 in case he ever has to protect himself from angry mobs should the government fall. And, this Agent CC33 for CNN, Chris, whatever his name is, Saliza or whatever, just probably the most annoying writer for CNN, and that's really saying something. But he wrote this article yesterday. CNN's front page had it like this: Lindsey Graham's reason for owning an AR-15 sounds like the plot from The Purge. And then he writes about how ridiculous that is. But again, to read someone like Chris C. at CNN and take his words seriously, you have to be a brain-dead moron, first of all. But second of all, you have to realize that the stuff that they put in the movies, I guess you have to be completely oblivious to the fact that the stuff they put in the movies often does become our reality. And there's a reason that they've made so many of these Purge movies. And all sorts of articles are written about how it was, inspired by the times and connected to what they saw with the Trump presidency and the movement behind Trump and the direction of the country. So again, they've made a lot of these movies. They've made a TV series about it. And it's clear that they're moving us in that kind of direction. So for an article to be written about how stupid it is to think that we'd ever live in a country that could look like the Purge, especially after with what happened last summer, it's just completely ridiculous. The news is just meant to confuse you and meant to make you discredit the truth. But sure enough, from Lindsey Graham's 7-9 birthday to yesterday when this article was written was 263 days. And remember, that's the 56th prime. And remember, Parkland, Florida equals 263, which is like the central point where the agenda's coming out of right now for disarming the populace. And don't forget, Sandy Hook. Whoops. Hold on. I got to fix this. I wrote Sandy Hook a huge 263 ritual. What I meant to write was a huge 56 ritual. 263 is the 56th prime. Remember, Sandy Hook was established in 56, and the shooting came 56 years later. And recently we got the story of Patrick Dragon, who died from COVID, who was a Sandy Hook first responder, and he's posing next to the license plate where the only numbers you can see on it are 56. So I'll go back and fix that. But what do you know? Just same old numbers. And speaking of same old numbers, out of the UK, you get this one. UK hits 30 million first coronavirus vaccine doses, 57% of all adults. And remember, vaccine is 57 and 30, and the two ciphers we've talked about the longest. And vaccine in England have overlap in 3 out of the 4 ciphers, and this comes out of the UK. And don't forget, you guys, the first vaccinated people, Maggie Keenan, Agent 56, and William Shakespeare, they got their vaccines in Coventry, and Coventry has to do with social isolation, and that's the joke. Again, eventually they're going to make it so that if you don't have the vaccine, you will be isolated from society. You will not be able to participate in most things. It's very clear it's going that direction. So they come up with all these vaccine passports and whatnot. Also, this news was reported on the 87th day of the year, and Bill Gates, 87 and 57. Don't forget, vaccines also 42, and the vaccine went live December 8th on Bill Gates' 42nd day of his age. So there is that. And we have a new CDC director. We no longer have Robert Redfield, Jesuit educated. With the Biden administration, we got Dr. Rochelle Walensky, and her headline yesterday: CDC director warns of impending doom as COVID cases spike. Dr. Rochelle Walensky said the U.S. has come such a long way with 3 vaccines and pleaded with the nation to keep following mitigation measures. Remember, when you write out 3, it's 56, like COVID vaccine, like coronavirus. But her name's 71 like CDC, and the CDC was established on 7-1. And don't forget that Robert Redfield's birthday was July 10th, 710. And the CDC was established in 46, and Catholic is 71 and 46. But then how about this headline? CDC director gives emotional warning of impending doom around COVID-19. And again, if we didn't live in Stupidville, most people would see through this headline in no time. They'd say, okay, this is why back in the day women weren't leaders of anything, because women are emotional, and when you're emotional, you make bad decisions and you say the wrong things and your intelligence level's down. And I'm not saying women are less. I mean, women are great and have all sorts of qualities that men don't have, but this is historically why women weren't leaders. They have a time of the month. They're emotional. Again, in those periods of time, things can go really wrong. Why do you want your leader out giving an emotional, fear-driven response? And of course, we know why in the media. They want people always in an emotional state, not a thinking state. The media is all about playing to the emotions, the divide and conquer, the fear, the control. But here you have this emotional woman putting out all this fear. That's why you see people driving alone in their cars with masks on. They probably got CNN playing through their radio. So, again, and it's not like there's not goon men out there just doing the same type of crap, but just the whole thing, an emotional, impending doom. It's like, okay, do we need to air this for the populace? Maybe when she's in a more stable state of mind, then we can put her on the air. Impending doom. Meanwhile, all year I've been totally healthy. I haven't been following any of the rules. So, anyway. And shout out to Bryson again. He caught this exercise Cygnus, which took place October 18, 2016, exactly 3 years to the day of Event 201. And look at the gematria on exercise Cygnus. The exact same as Jesuit order in 3 out of the 4 ciphers, even having the 201 in it. Another pandemic simulation 3 years to the day. And now the 1018 thing is becoming a lot clearer. There's also a phrasing used in the Bible multiple times for Satan as that old serpent. And you see how that old serpent is 177, 201, and 75? Compare that with, exercise Cygnus. 177, 201, 75. It's a phrasing used to reference Satan. Satan comes to earth in Luke 10:18, this on 10:18. You think about Stanley Kubrick with Eyes Wide Shut trying to clue people in to what's going on with the rich elite and how behind closed doors they get into these satanic, creepy rituals. Then I put out a short video on this yesterday, but just one more time in case you missed it. They're saying the King Super shooting lasted 58 minutes. Again, I've written about this pattern with 58 mass shootings so many times, but King Super's 58, Big Secret Society, Freemasonry, Rosicrucian number, James Egan Holmes, another 58, that was the Aurora, Colorado shooter. Notice that was on July 20th, which is typically the 201st day of the year, but it was in 2012 a leap year, so it was technically the 202nd day of the year, and Skull and Bones is 202. And remember, they said that they counted the last victim of the King Super shooting at 2:02 a.m. We covered that headline. Skull and Bones 202, their real number is 322, and the shooting was on March 22nd, and the 202nd minute of the day is 3:22 in the morning. But notice also that James Egan Holmes is 33 years old right now because the King Super shooting was at store number 33. Again, the Sandy Hook shooting was synced with the King Super shooting. Sandy Hook happened on a 58-date numerology. If you use the numerology rules in reduction, Sandy Hook also has the 58 connection. Again, the Vegas shooting, 58 people were reportedly killed. And the governor at the time had a 5/8 August 5th birthday, and the shooting was 58 days after his birthday. And then again, this number's been in a million mass shootings, but another big one in recent times was Cedric Ford, one of the only black mass shooters there ever was. But again, just another 58 ritual. And again, say their names. That motto that they say so often after these mass shootings is also 58. So 58's a number related to time. Calendar's 58. Zodiac's 58. Gregorian's 58. And 58 minutes. Time. All rituals and time. The calendar. The language. It's all synced up. So I think we hit all the main points right there. And real quick, let me just see if there's any breaking news. Day 2 of the trial. CDC chief says latest COVID numbers scare her. Oh, wow. Okay. It's just such a joke, man. They just want such an emasculated, feminine society. All the new movies, all the dopey guys, the women heroes. I mean, it's like every movie now. God, it's just such a joke, man. Okay. Volkswagen maybe changing its name? Interesting. Inappropriate SpongeBob episode gets pulled by streaming services. Wow. Hold on. I gotta see. We got an angry. That's the new thing too. Is while you got the Myanmar thing going on in Asia, all this focus on Asians being improperly treated. Again, I think they realize they're like, we're not focusing enough on Asians. We need to get every racial group worked up. You're right. You're right. Let's do something with the Asians. Okay. 2 SpongeBob SquarePants episodes are no longer available on Paramount Plus and Amazon because of inappropriate content. One episode, Quarantined Crab, from the show's 12th season, centers on a virus storyline. We have decided to not air it due to sensitivities surrounding the global real-world pandemic. Something tells me they probably took it down because it had some predictive programming in there that was too obvious. Has anyone seen this? Quarantined Crab? I gotta know more. I gotta know more. Okay. Do I got a release date here? Krusty Krab goes under emergency quarantine, but no one knows who carries the mysterious illness. Look at that, you guys. Episode 263B? Huh? 263, really? The 56th prime? Like coronavirus is 56? Running time, 10 minutes, 56 seconds. I thought SpongeBob's that short? I thought it... What? That's short? But come on, man. Episode 263? What was the other thing they took down? Did I check the gematria on Quarantined Crab? 144 like Jesuit order, 63 like John Carroll, 261 and 99 like the United States of America. Okay, what else? Said they took down 2 episodes. In the episode, a health inspector comes to the Krusty Krab and finds a case of the clam flu in the restaurant. Upon this discovery, the health inspector quarantines the patrons, and the character grows anxious. The removal of the quarantine crab comes during a time of increased anti-Asian violence in the United States. The episode's storyline reflects feelings of increased isolation and hatred that many Asian communities have experienced. Oh, of course, that's true, right? Because I've been calling it the Chinese virus. Yeah, avoid terms like the Chinese virus. Okay, yeah, it does. And that reminds that The Simpsons had some predictive programming with the Osaka flu episode. And in 1968, there was a pandemic in Osaka, and that's the year coronavirus was coined. Another episode called Midlife Crustacean has been out of rotation since 2018. In it, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs break into a woman's house and steal her underwear. We determined some story elements were not kid appropriate. Okay. But yeah, what are the odds that the Quarantine Crab was episode 263, the 56th prime, huh? I'd like to go back and watch that episode now. I want to know what's in there. What'd they say? The clam flu? The clam. Clam's got that 79 like Society of Jesus. Clam flu's got that 68 like coronavirus coined in 68. It's got that 121, which was all over the pandemic at the beginning. Because remember, the first case in the U.S. was confirmed on January 21st, and coronavirus outbreaks 121. And what else is it? World Health Organization is 121, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is 121, and they made channel 121 on Sirius XM, the coronavirus channel. Of course, Revelations 121, where the whole 666 thing comes from. But yeah, what do you know? So anyway, we'll leave it there, you guys. And I'm going to pound some pavement today, so I will be out on the streets. Well, unless one of these new channels is finally going to be eligible to stream. Yeah, I might not be able to live stream today on the Corner of Yakima because the Voices of Humanity channel, it's the the only two channels I have that allow me to mobile stream right now are Voices of Humanity and Gematria FX Sports, and they just gave a strike to Gematria FX Sports, so that was suspended for a week. And I don't want to get Gematria FX Sports taken down, and the odds of these live streams on the corners getting taken down are pretty high, and getting a strike like yesterday. Yesterday they gave me a strike on Voices of Humanity, so now that channel's on a 2-week suspension and is on the verge of deletion. But I don't want to put Gematria FX Sports in the same situation, try to keep that channel up by mostly just keeping it to sports content. So I might not be able to live stream today, but I'm still going to go out there and do it every day just for the social experiment of seeing what we can generate here in the town of Yakima. And it seems each day that I go out there, I meet somebody new, at least one new person. And yesterday it was Merritt. If you missed yesterday's stream, Merritt dropped by, and Merritt was dropping all sorts of information and saying all sorts of things that you get banned and censored for on YouTube. So I knew the video was probably doomed. I was hoping I'd be able to get home and download it before it was over, but they cut it off and they deleted it shortly after. But Merritt was, I can't even repeat what he was saying. He'll probably get this video taken down, but yeah, it's just, the censorship's unreal. And the thing is, these other platforms, when you stream on it, the video just goes away after you're done streaming. So to me, that seems kind of pointless. It's cool for the people who are there while you're streaming, but then it just vanishes. And again, I do have my website team working on a solution. They're behind schedule as usual. They're supposed to be done with Signs Matter. Well, they're supposed to be done with it no later than last Friday. Then they said they'd be done yesterday, but they're still not quite done. And the reason they're not done is because they said they were having so much trouble backing up everything on Free to Find Truth. Anyway, we've just been using up too much data, so they've been trying to figure out ways to reduce the data usage so that we don't have to pay a fortune each month. And they are figuring out solutions for that, but it's taking them a long time to achieve these things. So anyway, the Signs Matter thing should be done. It was supposed to be done yesterday, so hopefully it's done today. But I remember this is just like it's just like when they were building Free to Find Truth. It got further and further behind schedule, but then eventually it was done. So anyway, I'm not going to say when it's supposed to be done anymore. It should be done any minute, but I'll just let you know when Signs Matter's up. The new site, because again, we're going to get out there, start paying homeless people, feeding homeless people to hold a sign of a positive message, just like the one back behind me. Got some nice signs made like that. And anyway, once they're done with the Signs Matter, then they're going into figuring out a way that I can live stream through our own platform. But that would be cool if we could get it set up on Free to Find Truth as well. I'm going to ask them to figure that out as well, because then that might entice more people, more content creators to come over to Free to Find Truth if they can use that as their live streaming platform. And wouldn't that be cool if all the truths, because then it would be easy to figure out who in the truth community is really about it. Who, just go on to Free to Find Truth, see who's streaming at the time. So it might be very expensive. It probably will be. But honestly, at this point, I think you guys probably agree with me. We got to have a platform at this day and age, in the information age, to be able to get out the word and share information. And big tech has made it so that, YouTube's not it, Facebook's not it, Twitter's not it. I know there's all these other platforms that are coming up too, but again, none are really dedicated just to the truth seekers. And so anyway, we'll figure it out. And yeah, if Free to Find Truth becomes the platform for the truth seekers and censorship free and being able to live stream, then to me that seems worth it. But I'm worried that the bill's going to be huge. So the good news is you guys have been very generous. I have saved up a lot of money in the last year. And if real estate prices weren't so high right now, we probably could buy a decent building. Because I was pounding pavement yesterday, I forgot to do my phone call with Mr. Man in the area, so I'm going to follow up on that as soon as I get off this stream. I need to talk to Mr. Man. He owns all the property in this town. I want to see if we have a building as well. That's why it's so hard. It's like, God, we don't have enough resources to get the building and do this and have the live streaming prior. We don't have all that unless we figure out a way to raise more. But these are things that have to happen. We gotta make some big things happen. So where there's a will, there's a way. But again, 2 projects trying to finish right now. The Signs Matter thing. I really do want a building with a kitchen. You guys have persuaded me that the best thing to do is have a place where they can come get a shower, clean up, get fed. I mean, that would be the perfect thing. And then, they earn their tokens by going out there and holding their signs of inspiration. And maybe there's a certain day of the week where it's a more serious message, trying to get people to think about things. So anyway, I'll keep you posted on all of it. I'm here every day. And also tonight, very possible that tonight I'll have a live stream with the gentleman who was a former member of the Black Panthers. There's a young man in the community. It's his father, and he's trying to get his father to link up with me to tell his story, the Black Panther 21 thing as well. So that might be tonight as well. So stay tuned. It'll have to be on this channel. Well, maybe I'll do it on Gematria FX Sports since it's the bigger. It'll either be this channel or Gematria FX Sports. But again, Voices of Humanity is suspended right now. And I've been trying to figure out how to live stream on these new channels, but it's cutting me off at every angle. So I think YouTube did something so that I cannot stream on these other newer channels, even though I've met all the requirements. Censorship is real. Yeah, I could stream on D Live. I haven't done it through my phone. I'm sure I can figure that out. But the thing I don't like about D Live is when you're done, your video just disappears. So I guess it's better than nothing. But before I head out today, I'll see if I can figure out how to stream through my phone on D Live. So, but yeah, I just don't like that the stream disappears afterwards. That annoys me. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. Lots to do today. And, yeah. Look out for the live stream. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter because a lot of times that's where I leave the notification that I'm going live and where I'm going live at. I don't think people get notifications on there too, but it'll give you one more chance than you'd have otherwise to find out. You guys, BitChute is such a trash platform. You guys, I think we should all boycott BitChute too. BitChute is garbage. They've been censoring my videos for years. They can't get through processing. I mean, look at these videos that don't make it through processing. TFR Live. I've tried to upload it like 5 times. Doesn't make it through processing. Full video of the boulder shooting. Can't get it through processing. How to get out the word about the agenda. Can't get it through processing. And it's been this way the whole time. Some videos go through, a lot don't. And this one finally made it through. This video is 3 minutes long. This video was in processing for, I don't know, at least 12 hours. I mean, seriously? 12 hours to process a 3-minute video? So I don't like BitChute. I don't care for BitChute one bit. And just another scammy thing. It's just so obvious that they're a scam. They raised all that money last year. They had that bar graph. It finally got to almost 100%, and then it never got to 100%, and they shut it down. It's like, okay, you guys were raising money to do all this live streaming. You got all this money, and then nothing ever happened. Total scam. And they censor. So BitChute, total trash platform. And it's just not going to do. It's just not going to do. All right. But yeah, I got to get on with the day. Lots of work to do. Got to eat something and got to get out and pound payment here. Till next time, True Seekers.